Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Tuesday morning. I hope everyone's all right. Hope everyone's okay, looking after themselves and having a good week. Obviously, Spurs in action in 2 days' time. So we're doing the AZ Alkmaar preview. We're obviously doing the loan roundup as we do every single Tuesday with some really, really good stuff this week in the loan roundup. But also for the transfer news, we're going to be talking about Benjamin Šeško. We've got two updates actually on Benjamin Šeško. We're going to be talking about Ademola Lookman. We're going to be talking about Hugo Larson. There's someone else that I want to talk about. Morton Hjulmand from Sporting Lisbon. So we're talking about that as well. Just to give you an update, I do release shorts, kind of like an unadulterated view on the topics that we talk about. So normally about a minute long. So if you can't make lives, don't worry. There's going to be shorts out where you can have a look at what I'm going to be talking about. And also I will put in timestamps in the comments down below of when I talk about certain things. So at least you're not missing anything to start. All right. It's all good. Morning Spurs, Sonia, Dragon, Steve, Jason, Jake, XL. How are we all? Larsson for Frankfurt. Yes, mate. So let's talk about it. But we're going to start with the loan roundup, okay? Because there's something really great I want to talk about in this loan round. Actually, there's a few, to be fair, but there's one in particular that I want to talk about, okay? So with the loan roundup, you know how we always do it. We try and do 30 seconds per player or per team, depending if they're playing in the same game or for the same team. So, ready, steady, go. I'm going to start with Luka Vuskovic out in Belgium. Obviously, Alfie Devine's still out injured, but Vuskovic played this week, who turned 18 last week. So turning 18 as I turned 29. He was man of the match in a nil draw, but in this game alone, he had 6 clearances, 1 clearance off the line, 2 block shot, 3 interceptions, 93% pass accuracy with 41 passes being completed. At 100% successful long balls, 10 out of 10. He had 1 take on and he completed it. He won 10 of 11 aerial duels and he won 1 of 2 ground duels. That is bonkers stats from Luka Vuskovic, and he is going to be an absolute rock star for this team. So really great stuff for him. Can't wait for him to join in the summer. We'll leave it on that high note there. Let's move over to a little bit of QPR flavoured news with Heung-Min. Started his second game for QPR against, title challengers Sheffield United, losing 2-1 at home to Sheffield United. He's got 6 straight appearances in a row as well. So he's playing a lot of football, and he's going to be massive next season. I really do think so. I've got high hopes for him. I'm really kind of just glad that he is getting the time that he needs out of QPR. Again, so many people telling you or telling me, basically the Twitter warriors, well, if he can't play against Hamworth, he must be rubbish. Okay, well, he plays in the Championship, so he can't be that bad. Leeds United 1-1 draw at home to West Brom. This game, really, for me, looking at the stats, if you're a Leeds fan, you're disappointed with how the game went. I mean, you're still top. You're top by 3 points. You are 8 points clear of Burnley, who are in third, but they do have a game in hand. They're still on for automatic promotion. I don't doubt for a second they won't get it. They are the best team in the Championship this season. They've played Sunderland, they've played Burnley, they've played Sheffield United and West Brom all in recent times. So they're bound to actually start playing, no offense, a lot more of the lower league teams as the season starts to finish off. Stoke City 0-0 draw at home to Watford. Ashley Phillips playing the full 90, a clean sheet, and he was magnificent, supposedly. Stoke right now 5 points clear of relegation. Okay. They were playing Watford, who are fighting for the Championship playoffs. They are 3 points behind as well. So, you're talking about a team in Watford who have been quite good. A 0-0 draw. I mean, Stoke have had 12 draws this season. There is only there's 4 teams that have had more draws than this season. So it's still probably a decent enough result, if I'm honest. Looking at the stats, it looked like a bit of a nothing game. 0-0, you take it and move on. 2-1 loss for Leyton Orient at home. A little bit of an issue this one because they were 1-0 up. Jamie Donnelly left the pitch in the 86th minute. They were 1-0 up. They conceded 2 in the last 5 minutes of the game. It was a 92nd minute equaliser and 97th minute winner for Charlton. It's a difficult one for Leighton Orient. Obviously, they've had a fantastic season so far, but you know, Josh Keeley, unfortunately, you could say he was great for the 90 minutes. That extra time part, he's had an absolute stinker. He's an absolute stinker. First time he came up for the corner and slipped, and then was blocked for getting the ball for another, and Charlton took a both advantage of both of those. They scored both of those. So, you know, you have to say, look, he's magnificent for the first 90, but that last sort of 7 or 8 minutes wasn't good enough. Brian Hill, Flavour News, 2-2 draw away, at home to Celta Vigo. And there's something weird about Girona, because like last season, fantastic. They're in the Champions League. Everything's really, really good. And I know they maybe sold a couple of players, but they didn't have like a crazy wholesale change. The issue is obviously they moved off of Dovbyk, they moved off of Savio, but a lot of the core is still there. But I mean, sitting in 13th, they're as close to Valladolid, who are bottom, as they are Athletic Bilbao, who are in 4th. There's 16 points between both of them. That's just, for me, going to be real, it's just not good enough. It isn't for Girona. And looking at the stats, I don't think they'd sit there and say they deserved anything more. I think 2-2 probably was about right. It's just a bit naff, really, for them. Mansfield Town, Matthew Craig hasn't played. Espanyol last night, it was postponed. I believe there was a weather issue, I think, for Villarreal. Espanyol, so Veliz obviously didn't play. Real Betis, Johnny Cardoso, 2-1 win at home to Real Madrid, and Johnny scored. And I think they were deserving of the win, to be honest. Looking at him recently, I think he has really, really developed. Really, really developed. And for me, it's something that Spurs do have a question mark over this summer. Will they pull the trigger on that buy option? If he plays like that more often, you would say they're going to buy him. I'll just say that. And finishing off with George Abbott down at Notts County, 2-2 draw away to Fleetwood Town. George Abbott scoring the opener. One of those ones where dominated the ball. In reality, they gave up a lot of chances on the other end as well. You would be disappointed to go from 1-0 up to 2-1 down to then equalising in the 89th minute. But George Abbott's played crazy amounts of football this year. It's something ridiculous that he's played like over 30 games, I think it was. Bonkers stuff. Bonkers stuff. And he's been brilliant this year for them. I mean, he's got 10 goal contributions from central midfield. But it's 1 in every 3, which from central midfield, you'd be thrilled about, you know. Just finish off with Alfie Dorrington at Aberdeen. He came on in the first half of a 2-2 draw against Dundee United. He's come off the bench in the past, I think it's 2 matches. Might be 3, but I think it's 2. And obviously he played against Celtic in a big loss. So he's made 6 appearances since joining. It's not too bad. Not too bad. But there you go. There's a lone roundup. I've missed loads of your comments. Apologise. Morning, Bobby, Polly, Baz. How are we, Jazz? How are we all? Baz, Jazz. How are we all? When I watch Kamar Doso, it reminds me of a Gino-type player. Probably just a lot better defensively is the only thing I'd say about that. But yes, there you go. So 8.5 minutes in, lone roundup done. So look, we got some really great stuff. Let's talk some transfers. Let's talk Benjamin Šeško. We've got 2 updates from the same person. So Florian Plettenberg last night, I say last night, it was about 5:15, saying, and they were talking about Benjamin Šeško. He said, until now, there'd only been talk of verbal agreement, but Benjamin Šeško has formally fixed release clause in his contract until 2029. This clause can be activated starting this summer. It's tied to various parameters such as games played, goals, and assists, and increases regularly. Currently, the clause stands at around 70 million euros. But by the end of the season, it's expected to reach approximately 80 million euros. All top English clubs have expressed interest, including Manchester United, Tottenham, and Arsenal. The only club not involved in the race is Manchester City. Fair enough, Florian. Thanks for coming along, mate. And then Florian Plettenberg went, oh, Andy, are you live at 11? Well, I'll put this out here 20 minutes before you go live, just so you've got something else to talk about. And he again said, Leipzig are aware of the strong interest from several top Premier League clubs in Sesko. As previously revealed, the 21-year-old top striker has a formally fixed release clause for the summer, which could rise to 80 million euros. Tottenham currently have a little chance, while Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal all expressing concrete interest. This season, Sesko, he has played across 34 times across the Bundesliga, the Champions League, and the DFB Pokal. He has 17 goals and 5 assists, so 22 goal contributions in 34 games. Really decent return there. He is 21. He will be 22 at the end of May. He has a contract that expires in the summer of 2029. Now, look, I like Sesko. I do. I don't think anyone's shocked that we like Sesko as a player. I think he's decent, absolutely. But Spurs spent 65 million on Dominic Solanke. If we're getting another striker, it for me spells Richarlison's done. That's the first thing I would say. Second thing is what's going to happen with Matisse Tell. I think any PlayStation controllers running low on battery. I think anything of the situation surrounding a striker is dependent on the rest of the season. I think there'll be obviously interest like you do as a top club. You're interested in loads of different positions, even if you're quite strong in them, because it's always good to do your own homework and build some knowledge about other players, because football can change in a heartbeat. But on this side of things, I think Spurs are going to want to see what Matisse Tell does first. You know, the guy has been here a month. Leading into the month that he has played for us, he barely played any football for Bayern. So he obviously match fitness-wise, actual fitness-wise, sharpness, all those things wasn't there. Let's see how he is towards the end of the season. You know, you got to factor in that Richie and Solanke are both back this month. Solanke, I'd expect to be back within the next week. Richie maybe a tad bit longer, but they are back this month. What does it look like for Tell then? So I think there's a lot of points that come into the striker position. I don't think Spurs are going to go out and out buying a striker this summer. I think they're more maybe focused towards the right wing side of things. I think that's my thinking, at least. I don't know how everyone else thinks, but that's my thinking, at least. Morton Ivan, how are you, my friend? Lol, how long have I been asking about Sesko? Too long, probably. I heard that we're going for Guay and as 138 million. Not a great source. It was team talk, so not a great source. So don't worry about that too much. Sesko never happening. I don't think it would either. Spurs aren't spending 80 million euros on another striker when they spent 65 million pounds on a striker the following summer. You know, I like I said, if we're getting a striker, it truly means the end for Richarlison. Spurs aren't adding a fourth striker into the situation, you know. Yeah, I don't see it personally. Fair enough. Strength of the midfield we need to. Yeah, no, we do. We do. Going to come to Larsson in a minute. Don't worry. We're going to come to Larsson in a minute. But yeah, that's that on Sesko, that side of things. Again, like I said, don't think we'll be in there. I don't think we'll be in there. So I'm just checking something. Right. So moving on. Obviously, when we talk about the other players that we're linked to, why don't we talk about a little bit of Larsson, because this is another one from Plettenberg. Like I said, they've been at it. He's just been at it. And I've got rid of the article. That's always a good start. It's always a good start. Let's bring it back up. Apologies. This is awful for me. I got rid of the article. Florian Plettenberg. Right, here we go. So, many top clubs are interested in Hugo Larson. The Frankfurt midfielder, Frankfurt are expecting concrete offers for the 20-year-old. A summer transfer is possible, but they are demanding a 60 million euro fee. Larsson is under contract until 2029. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Tottenham and several other teams are monitoring him, including top Bundesliga clubs. Let's go through some of his stats. So this season, by the way, he turns 21 at the end of this season, in the end of June. So very young, very, very young. Contract expires summer of 2029. He's played 33 times this season across the Europa League, Bundesliga, and the DFB Pokal. Obviously, there's a position where if things work out the way that Frankfurt want to and the way Spurs want to, we will see him in the next round of the Europa League. So there is that as well. But he's played 33 times across those competitions, scoring 5 and assisting once. So 6 goal contributions. It's one every 5.5 games. Okay. He's had a really, really good season. Now, a lot of people sort of thinking, is he a 6? Is he an 8? He's more of an 8. This season, he's in all those games that he's played, 27 of them have been at the number 8 position. So he's not a 6. Anyone that's thinking, let's get him to play 6, sorry to say, that's not his strongest position. Now, could he play there? Maybe so, but it's not his strongest position, is what I'm going to say. Can we sell Richie? He's pretty broken. Everyone knows it. There'll be people that would want him, yeah. Saudi will be all over him. Everton, I can expect maybe to be interested in, depending on the situation they have, Jess Spencer I should be studied, yeah. I don't think he was the mystery player, mate. There was the talk that he was the mystery player, but I don't think it was. I think it was like a League One player or something. Agree with Šeško's never fit enough games. Expecting concrete offers, expecting Spurs chucking a bouncy castle offer. But they won't be chucking in the electricity that comes for blowing a bouncy castle up. They'd go, do it yourself. We gave you all the equipment. Not supposed to that's cheap for that talent. Yeah, I mean, look, with Spurs this summer, obviously, they've got a really interesting situation. What are they doing with Bissouma is obviously, I think, one of the first things Spurs need to work out. I would expect Spurs to actually just look to replace Bissouma with Archie Gray. And I don't think that's a bad thing, by the way. I think some people will go, look at Spurs being cheap. I don't think that for a second. We signed him to play midfield and he's played defence. So I would rather him be the midfield option that replaces Bissouma personally. And then signing a centre back, that or a left back at least. That would be my thinking. Sign a defender, move Archie Gray into the midfield. That would be my thinking, obviously. So I don't mind that. Obviously, Spurs would probably still need to look at a 6. Obviously, Cardoso could be him. Obviously, we talk about Hjulmand in a second. Obviously, Larsson, I don't really see as a 6. I see as an 8. If they're getting Larsson, you would expect them to move off of Sarr or Bentancur. And I don't see them doing that either. So I don't see this one happening. Do you still regret not signing Dorgu? He's been there. He's been there half an hour, mate. He still needs time, and he's joined a really difficult situation at Manchester United. Things aren't good there. They're dealing with a lot of injuries and issues. So he will get better. He will. Do I regret not signing him? Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We'll see how I feel in a few months' time when he's got a bit of a run of games. Personally, I think he's been great for Man United. There you go. Well, great. We'll know everyone's job behind him. He is a 6. Yep, I like Gray a lot, and I think him knowing every position in the defense will help him long term massively. I just look if I don't see Spurs signing more than 2 midfielders this summer. I think they sign 1. I think they look at Gray. They look at the emergence of Bergvall. You've still got Matters. Kulu, you could feature more centrally. You still have Sarr, Bentancur. You've got a lot of options in that midfield. What do they do with players like Jamie Donnelly, Alfie Devine? What are they going to do in the attack? I think with the attack, they're looking at right wing. That's the position they're looking at right this second, going, we need to get another right winger, because then that might free up Kulusevski to be a bit more central, which I don't think us as fans would mind too much. So that's my thinking, at least. What about Zaire Emery for 100 million? That's not happening, is it? We should get Delap or Sesko in the summer, then we're going to cut next season. We're not getting... Delap, of the two of them, has a chance. Sesko, no chance. More than D's, though. We should be at full strength apart from Dragajin. Would be interested to see how it'll be managed, but seeing Spence, Romero, Van der Ven, and Doggy, that's a really strong defence. Agreed. I think we'll sign Cardoso. Peter, how are you, my friend? El Dente, I'm good. How are you, my friend? Yes, we need a left back, but we're okay now with Jed and Archie covering, but the midfield needs refreshing. Look, my attitude with Jed, by the way, he's been great at left back. I still view him as a right back. Please get me a left back to work with Destiny. That's your left backs. And then if there's an injury situation and Jed has to go and play left back for a game or two, or to finish off a game, fine, not a problem. But I really, really want to see Jed Spence at right back, okay? And obviously, when we come to the preview for AZ Alkmaar, we'll talk about that in a second. we'll see how I sort of feel towards who I think should be starting, because obviously Jed Spence could make his Europa League debut for Spurs on Thursday. He is in the squad now. A right winger, that would be my Christmas in July. Sounds like a good Christmas. So look, there's that on Larsson's side of things. We'll sort of see where that goes. But for me, that sort of price, Spurs aren't doing unless they're moving off of a lot of players. Okay, not for a second do I see it. All right. Moving swiftly on. Okay, let's talk about Morton Hjulmand from Sporting Lisbon. So Ekram Knorr saying that Manchester United and Tottenham have added Sporting Lisbon's Morton Hjulmand to their shortlist. The Danish midfielder is keen to sign for the Premier League. Keen to sign for the Premier League at the end of the season. Hjulmand this season, he's played 36 times across the Liga Portugal, Taça de Portugal, his league, the Allianz Cup and the Super Taça. 3 goals and 1 assist. He has a release clause of 80 million euros. He is 25. He's 26 in the summer. His contract expires in the summer of 2028. He is more of a defensive midfielder. He is more of a 6 than an 8. I think he has an Arsenal tattoo. If I remember correctly, someone will help me in the chat. I'm pretty sure he's the guy that has an Arsenal tattoo. Am I being a bit of an idiot? I think someone in the chat will tell me in a second. I'm going to read a couple more comments. Problem is with Spence playing left back, I think let's cut him, but on the right, he doesn't play like that. So I'm not sure if he's best served for left back or right back in our system. Get Hatter and Cardoso. PSV versus Arsenal today. Pair of 6 needs a hat trick. Amram told the press that he wants to win the league. You can tell him what he wants to do. He does have an Arsenal tattoo. Thank you, Jazz. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, look, you can get laser removal tattoo surgery. No, you can do that nowadays. Look, I am always. I mean, people. Right, this is the thing. Right, people always talk about the Eredivisie. The Eredivisie. There's always those players. Oh, you think they're so good? They come to England and they're rubbish. Now, not every player's like that. You can name quite a few that have turned out to be pretty damn decent. But the Portuguese league also throws up some absolute rotten stinkers as well, and it always gives me a concern. Always gives me a concern. You know, it's not. I'm not saying that he would be that. I'm just saying you do always have that pause for concern. And at Sporting, they play a much different system than what we do. He normally plays in like a sort of holding mid 2. We'd be asking him to be a holding mid 1. Can he do it on his own? There's not many holding mids that can in the world football. You know, Rodri's one. After that, you're sort of going, well, who else is there? Like quality holding midfielders. Because if you think about like the Italian teams, they play multiple holding midfielders. If you think about PSG, they actually play quite a few 6s in a game as a whole. You know, they play a Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, sort of 6/8. You know, there's a few in that sort of João Neves. There's a few in that world. Now, if you think about Barcelona, what is it, Casado? You know, is it Frankie de Jong? I don't see Frankie de Jong as being good enough as a 6 defensively for what like the Premier League would want. It's different when you have like 99% of the ball. It's easier to be a 6. If you think about Real Madrid, Tchouaméni, I mean, they normally put him in the midfield alongside a Valverde who covers every blade of grass, or a Camavinga. So, yeah, that's where Rodri really has a leg up on every other holding midfield in the world of football. The guy can play as a lone 6 and be really good at it. I don't really see any other player in world football that can. Even if you think of Bayern Munich play Kimmich and Goretzka, or they play Kimmich and Paulinho, or Paulinho and Goretzka, you know, so that it's difficult, really. That's why you want your 8 or another midfielder to be able to go box to box and cover every blade of grass. I think Pape can do that. I do when he's fit. I think Pape has been dealing with a lot of issues this season, and I think he struggled for it. Because when he did finally come back into the team earlier in the season, and he was fit and healthy and raring to go, he was brilliant. He was actually probably one of our best players. I think over time, obviously, with all the injuries that we've had, he's been run into the ground. He gets injured. He's playing through injuries, and I think he's suffered. I think Bergvall, will over the next few years develop potentially into that number 8 role where he could do that. Bentancur, when fit, maybe he could. I mean, I saw people saying that he's lost his legs. It's like, what? I feel like too many people are too reactionary, especially like Twitter people. They're too reactionary of like, this player's finished. Why is he finished? Well, it looks crap. Okay, what is the situation that he's dealing with? Let's put every card on the table. Let's see. With Bentancur, oh, so Spurs are missing 12 players. They can't rotate. He's playing 3 times a week. He's probably going to struggle a little bit. I won't lie. I still think Bentancur can be great. Consistency is kind of his enemy right now, but I think he can still be great, and I think he will. I think he will get that contract extension because I do believe he will play well towards the end of the season. Come on, Levy. No more Swedes unless it's Gyökeres. Agent Kulu have his number. They're best buddies. Well, Larsson is a Swede. Don't forget. Day 40 Arsenal Spurs. I'm Richard Rios. Keep asking, mate. Well, we don't know how Gray plays 6 at this level. Hope we find out soon. Would Gray ever play his natural position? Yes. Too many people are quick to make up a narrative and act like it's the truth. And then if like the player has one bad game, it's I told you so. He's rubbish. So look, there's that on Hjulmand. We'll sort of see, okay? Moving on, let's talk and discuss Lookman. So TBR Football saying that Arsenal and Tottenham have been approached as potential buyers for the Ballon d'Or contender. Look, he's having a great season. We talked about him not long ago, so we're not going to go through his stats or anything like that. And if you want me to go through his stats, go back and watch the video that I did on him. He's having a really great season. The manager's saying what the manager said. It seems like that now has rested, it's finalized, and they've moved on from it, which is good. I'm glad for them. Atalanta are having a really solid season. They're on a title charge as well, so they're going to need him. But this one's not going to happen. I'm going to be real with you. It's not going to happen. I think in the next sort of, you think March, April, or May, let's call it the next 3 months, you'll see more of Wilson Odobert. You'll see some more of Mikey Moore. You'll start to see the guys who could potentially be the Heung-Min Son long-term replacement. And I think you will see more of them, especially with the Europa League football and things like that. If you think about Spurs and their attack, it's really the right wing where Spurs, they've got Johnson, good goal scorer, but sometimes maybe the game is offering up the fact that you could be a bit more dangerous down the right. The right-hand side is getting a lot more of the ball. Could you get someone that's a bit more creative, and then maybe Son's the finisher? I think that's what Spurs are somewhat missing, because the issue is, I think when we watch Mikey Moore, Mikey doesn't feel like a right winger. He feels like a left winger. So does Wilson. I mean, even when we had Manor Solomon, it felt like Manor was a left winger, not a right winger. So we've got loads of those guys who play on the left, but not enough on the right. Hence why Kulu is still playing a little bit more right when centrally he has been very good. So, yeah, I think this one's one that we can quickly move on from, to be honest. I expect to be linked to him again, but I think we'll move on from this one quite quickly, if I'm honest. So there we go. So anyway, moving on. Let's talk some AZ as well, okay? Because we've got some stuff to talk about. Absolutely great players 6. Could be this week. Yeah, we need enforcement on the right. Absolutely. Anyway, let's talk. Because AZ Alkmaar, Spurs. Obviously, this is the second time this season we actually play them competitively. Okay. We didn't exactly play them in a pre-season game. So, just want to bring up when it was. Because... Yes, right. So with AZ, okay, AZ actually bang out of form at the moment. Bang out of form. But they lost to us 1-0 in the, what you would call the league phase. It's not a group phase anymore, it's a league phase. Excuse me. So that is a team that I think it's going to be a bit different this time around. Okay. We obviously played a team in AZ who, yeah, they created some chances, but I don't think they were very good in that first leg against us. I mean, we had more possession, we had more shots on target, more corners. We deserved the win. I mean, you look at the team that started this game and tell me how Spurs are going to be worse than this game. Fraser Forster in goal, Desi Doggett left back, Davies, Dragoshin, and Archie Gray at the back. The midfield was Bentancur, Bergvall, and Maddison. The front 3, left wing was Werner, right wing was Mikey Moore, and striker was Richarlison. Well, I can categorically tell you now, keeper's going to be better because Vicario could be back in there. Desi Doggett played left back in that game. Let's say Desi plays this game, right? Ben Davies and Dragoshin, you would think Ben Davies and Danso will be the starters. And let's say Jed Spence was right back. I think Jed Spence is a better right back than Archie Gray. So I think already you've upgraded 2 positions in the team. The midfield 3, Bensko, Bergvall, Madison, that's what we've been playing recently. It wouldn't shock me if that's the midfield 3 for this game. But the attack of Werner, Moore, and Richarlison, we will be better than that attack as well. Okay. AZ Alkmaar at the moment, though, are really a team that is in a weird situation at the moment. Because if we go back to February 9th, they won 2-0 at home, right? To PEC Zwolle. Zwol? I don't know how to say it. They then beat Galatasaray 4-1. They then had a week off until the second leg. They drew 2-2 away to Galatasaray. At the weekend then following, they beat Fortuna Sittard 1-0. They then go to extra time and penalties the following Thursday. So Thursday last week, they went to penalties away to Heracles. And then they lost at the weekend 3-1 away to Herenveen. Okay. So they're coming off the back of a loss. Not great. I understand that. I mean, Herenveen are 8th in the Eredivisie. AZ are 6th. I think, coming into this game, right? They are coming off of the back of playing last Thursday and going to extra time and penalties, losing then at the weekend. Spurs, the last time they played was the 26th of February. All right. I'd only just turned 29 at that point. I'm now a week into my 30th year. So they are coming into this game a hell of a lot more knackered than Spurs are. Spurs are coming in here. It would be over a week's rest. So we need to be coming into this game going, hey, win this game. Win this game. Take it back to Spurs. And then all you need is a draw because you've already won the first leg. And I think Spurs need to be going out there to try and win this first leg and win it by a couple of goals. Now, if they win this first leg and they win 1-0, fine. Brilliant. You're going into the second leg with an aggregate benefit. I think some people will go, oh, we didn't win 12-0. That's such nonsense. Ange out. But winning away in Europe is not easy. I think that's the one thing we need to be realistic about. It isn't easy. And in previous years, right, under managers who some people think are world-class and fantastic, we've struggled in games where we should be winning. Sometimes we lose them. So let's not overestimate ourselves and let's not underestimate them because, yes, we beat them 1-0 this season. They were somewhat dangerous in that first game. Now, yes, we will be stronger for this game. We'll be fitter and healthier. We're getting the reinforcements back in the next week. So AZ, I think here we go. If AZ are to go through, they need to win this game by a couple. They'll win this game. They need to win this game by a couple because the second leg, the reinforcements will be back. And I like to call them the Avengers, the big boys. And therefore, you're getting players who are going to be rotated and fresh. So I think my starting 11, I think Vic's going to be in goal. I think obviously with Bournemouth at the weekend, that's an important game as well. I think too many people going, focus everything on the Europa. Let's not be like that. The league, trust me, the league has plenty to play for. Bournemouth having injury issues and suspension issues. Obviously, Newcastle just went out of the FA Cup. Gordon's suspended now for 3 games because of his red card. They're going to be down a few players. Watching some other teams in and around us recently, with us being quite fit, I think we could easily catch and climb above quite a few of those teams that are above us. Absolutely. So I think for me, Vic in goal. I would go Destiny at left back. I'd go Davies. I think because obviously Davies now would have had a couple of weeks off. I think he's had a couple of weeks off. So I'd go Davies. I'd go Big Dance, Big Kev at the back, obviously. And I would actually go Jed Spence. No, Pedro Porro. I'm going Pedro Porro. Follow me here. Just follow me. You'll see the method to my madness. I know a few of you are going, Oh, just play Jed Spence, like he's our best player. Just follow me. It's called rotation. And by the way, I'm not dropping Jed Spence. I'm not dropping other players. It's rotation. Okay. I'm going to harp on rotation. Say it with me. Rotation. Not dropping, not kicking out of the side. Rotation. All right. You got it. Good. I'm glad. Rec, how are you, my friend? You are now 30. No, 30th year. I'm 29. Any win for us would be great. Won't win 7-1. Absolutely right. I'm going to come to your score lines and predictions in a minute. But yeah, Vic in goal, Destiny, Ben Davies, Big Kev, and Pedro Porro. Midfield 3. Got some options in here. Do have some options in here. You know, you've got Basuma fit. You got Sarr, Madison, Kulu, Bergval, Bentancur, Archie Gray. You've got 7 guys to choose from here. I would be saying Rodrigo Bentancur, bench. Let's rotate him out. And I'd be saying to Bentancur, Bournemouth. You're starting in Bournemouth. He'll go, all right, yeah, we'll work with that. I would love to see Archie Gray, but I think he'll go Basuma, okay? Because we're going to have a lot of the ball. They're a high press team. Let's have the guy that can play through a high press. The one thing we can all agree on, whether you think Basuma's the worst or the greatest midfielder in the world, the guy can play through a press. I'd play Pape at the 8. And I think I would play Madison, but I wouldn't play Madison a full 90. I'm playing Madison 60 minutes, and then I'm having him at the weekend as well. That's my midfield 3. So I'm going to go the guys that played a lot of last year together as well. So I like that continuity between the 3 of them. So Basuma, Sarr, Matters. And then my front 3, I'm going to go Wilson Odobert on the left, even though I know Son was rotated from the start last time out. I'm going Wilson Odobert because I'm having Son at the weekend. Wilson Odobert, Johnson, Tell. That's the front 3 that I would go with, actually. So I'll go from back to front again. Fixing goal. Destiny, Davies, Danso, Porro, Basuma, Sarr, Madison, Odobert, Tell, and Johnson. That's my 11. I think that 11 is good enough to go there and win. And the beauty is, off of the bench, you've got Kulusevski. Because I wouldn't mind Kulusevski getting a little bit more rest if we can, obviously. But he's obviously then off the bench if you need him. Jed Spence as well. I think Jed Spence, having played as much football as he has, I'm looking at Bournemouth with Semenyo and Clivert at the weekend, and I'm going, I want him for that. I do want him for that. Although I know AZ do have some very, very interesting wingers. But I would have Jed Spence on the bench. I'd have Bergval on the bench. You know, Bentancur on the bench. Sonny on the bench. You start to look at that bench and go, okay, there's some options here. Right? So, but the other one I want to bring in, because I want to bring in this. You're probably sitting there going, Andy, you just said to me, right? I know it's you right now. I can see you saying it right now, and you're going, hang on a second, is he about to copy me? You just told me the Avengers are going to be back in the next week. Well, Matt Law has said that Christian Romero is in the running to be in the squad for the AZ Alkmaar game on Thursday. So there you go. That's the first. I mean, he's the biggest Avenger. Out of all of them, he is the biggest Avenger. He's in the squad. He's in line to be back. And I would have him on the bench. And I'd be going, should we get you 20 minutes into the game? 20, 30 minutes into the game? Let's then get you some legs in the. Let's get you some minutes in those legs. And Bournemouth at home on Sunday, I want to see you displaying your absolute fine best again. Because then next week, Mickey, I mean, Solanke's not far from being back. Solanke, I would say maybe Bournemouth at the weekend is where I think Solanke will be back. I don't think he'll be back for Thursday. Obviously, Ange's presser, we'll know about it in the next couple of days, where and when we should be. But I think Solanke maybe more so at the weekend. I think Richarlison's probably later into this month. And I think Mickey is probably next week, to be honest. That's my thinking. So anyway, let me know. Let's do a poll. Let's get this poll in. And then obviously, alongside the poll, I want to know your score lines. So for Thursday, AZ, are we winning? Are we drawing? Or are we doing that thing that I never want to talk about? Losing. I want to know your thoughts, fears. And then also in the comments as well, what is the score line? And I want to know your score line. I want to know your scorers. Obviously, if you don't think we're going to score, then you don't need to tell me. So I can read some comments. A 3-0 win would be nice. Think we'll see Romero Van der Ven at all this game. I've probably answered your question for you there, Jake. Spencer rotated last game for sure. Ange benched him for Europa. No, it will still be rotated. It's a long way to go. I mean, the key thing here, guys, is we play on the 6th of March, right? Yeah, that's Thursday. We then play Fulham on the 16th of March. And in between then, not only do we play on the 6th, we play on the 9th, we play on the 13th and the 16th. We play 4 games in that time frame. So don't look at it as a player is being dropped. Look at it as we need all of these players for those 4 games. They're needed. Okay, so don't look at any player being dropped. Look at them as all these players are needed between all of these games. All right. 3-1 is realistic. I think the rotated players will start against AZ. Wenger out. Kula on the bench is very tasty. I blame Clinton and G. Our season starts this week. If we bench Son and lose, then Ange Brigade will be on one. They're always on one anyway, mate. Even if we won 12-0, they'd be finding something they're unhappy about. Is Sergei Rebrov fit, Andy? I think Ange blew up Rebrov's hamstrings, so he's not going to be fit again. But I did ask, is Christian Ziege ready to play? And they said Christian can give you 20 minutes at the weekend. So won't be back for AZ, but Christian Ziege at the weekend, apparently. He's good for some minutes. 3-1 Spurs, both are Madison Tell. 3-2 Chris seconds. Simo says see above. Oh, right. Yeah, I see your comment. I take a 1-1 draw and had a slightly higher cancelled tax race. Win AZ game by 5 with a clean sheet. Steve reckons 5-0. I don't need to ever ask Steve what he thinks the scoreline is going to be. It's always 5-0. 1-0 Spurs. 1-0. Oh, there you go. Simo's done it for me. 1-0. AZ have a good back four and a decent wingers. They do. Van Bommel's an interesting player. And obviously, Troy Parrott as well. 2-0 Johnson and Tell. Oh, I'd love a 2-0, Sonia. I would love a 2-0. I don't see a 2-0, but I'd love a 2-0. Looking at the poll, only 6% of you think we're going to lose. The rest of you think we are either winning or drawing, but the majority think we're actually winning. So look, for me, I think Spurs are going to win this game. I do. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think Troy Parrott's going to score for them, by the way. I do actually think he's going to score for them. For me, goal scorers-wise, I think... Oh, I see Johnson. I just do like a little tap in for Johnson or something. I think Johnson for the right-hand sides. Well, go on, give me Matisse Tell. Yeah, go on, give me those two. Give me Johnson and give me Matisse Tell. I think if we come out of this game with a 2-1, we should be happy because away wins in Europe are so difficult. I mean, the way I always look at Europe is if you can get this tie back to you when you've drawn the first game or drawn the away leg, then you're the favourites from then on. So for me, if we come back, if we play, let's say we get all the way to the final, right? And every single away leg we draw, I ironically would be fairly happy on paper. Now, if they're down to 9 men and we draw, and it's like, well, we should have done more there, I would agree. But on paper, if you take the game back to yours, where it's a one-off game, you v them, you should be thinking we're the favourites to win here. We've got a great chance. But I think 2-1, obviously they've played twice in a time that we haven't. They played at the weekends. Obviously, I know they're at home. If we were at home this leg, I genuinely think we'd win by multiple, just because they'd have played twice, had to fly over. So I think 2-1 Spurs is where I'm thinking. End that poll. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way so I can see your comments as well. And I think Jono and I think Tell. That's my thinking. So I'm going to agree with Sonia on the fact that we're going to score 2 with Johnson and Tell, but I'm going to throw Parrott in there for a goal. Hat trick for Bergval. Love it. Is AZ mental for atmosphere? Couldn't tell you enough. I don't really watch them enough, mate. One day I'll be right. Tell Odebear masterclass and coming notes it. Anyone will be perfect. A draw is good. I think if we come out of this game with a 1-1, I don't think we should be disheartened. It is European away games. They are never easy. But if we were to get a win, take it back to us in a week's time. I mean, look, if you were to win comfortably, You then get to rotate quite heavily for the next week, allowing them for Fulham at the weekend that you're really raring to go. That's my thinking. So some people might go, we should go stronger in this game, win by a couple, get some players off in like the 60th, 70th minute, have them still ready to go for Bournemouth at the weekend. I get that idea. But I also kind of feel like the reason we've all wanted rotation is to keep the big names fit. Yeah, you keep your Romeros fit, keep your Mickeys fit, keep your keep your Desi Doggies fit. Right, we've got some players now, so let's use them. So, some people go put out the strongest 11, and I get that you want to win this competition. I totally get it. But there's 4 games in the space of 10 days, 11 days? You need these players. You really, really need these players. So look, I think 2-1's where I'm thinking. You let me know down below if you're watching this back and I'm not live. I'll be happy to see what you guys think. Exactly. Win comes to me and rotate as we have 4 games in 11 days. Cozy agrees. There you go. Yeah, I think this is a real massive point of our season. Get through to the next round, face Ajax or Frankfurt. I feel like it'd be Ajax just on the paper right this second. Obviously in form. Frankfurt having moved off of, your Marmoushes of the world and things like that. But yeah, we have players that we should be rotating in now. Use them. Then at Bournemouth at the weekend, even though you'd have played in the week and they wouldn't have played in the weekend. They obviously played the weekend before against Wolves in the FA Cup. You should still have a pretty damn fresh squad raring to go for them. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Go enjoy the rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, wherever you are in the world. I'll be back tomorrow to speak even more about Spurs, and I hope to see you all then. Take care. Peace.